Morning, it's just a short video for Year 11 parents, just to let you know how things have started with the mock exams for your Year 11 students. So it is currently, it's 10 past 8 on Monday morning. We have our Year 11 exam today is English we start with first thing. So they were all in boosters on Friday afternoon, so they did a couple of hours of English work and then they'll come in this morning. So as I say, it's 10 past 8 and we must have 80 students in, 90 students, so at least half the year group are in already. Have come in early for our last minute exam revision. And what that is the teachers just literally very student led. What's the last few things that they want to go through? What are the last few exam tips before going into that hall to make sure that they do the best they possibly can in that 2 hours. And it helps just to settle the students, just get their minds right. You get to have a sit down, they're with their peers and talking about English so that the mind's in the right sort of place just as they go into the exam hall. I'd like to think they're all here for the English boosters, but I think that some of them maybe this is actually what tempts them. What we do through the morning boosters, we do exactly the same as we would do in the final exam during the GCSE exams. Morning, right?
Morning.
So what that means is that everything they do over these next couple of weeks is exactly what they'll do when they sit their GCSEs. So that it just takes that cognitive load off, so that when they go into the GCSEs they know exactly what to expect and exactly what they will be doing. Obviously, just showing the breakfast there, we supply morning breakfast, so cereal bars, fruit, juices, that sort of thing. And the reason we do that, morning ladies, all right? The reason we do that is it's just that bit of brain food, isn't it? A little bit of energy as they're about to go into the exams. It's very important that they have that, or else what you find the students, if they're tired, if they're hungry, and they won't be able to focus as well. But also the type of food, we obviously make sure that we've got to have the bacon and sausage sandwiches, haven't you? But we also make sure there's things like fruit cups, juices, that sort of thing, because they've got to have that slow burning energy as well. Cereal bars are really good. If students are having a high sugar breakfast and a lot of sweets, that doesn't work. That's really bad. Especially things like energy drinks. It is one of the worst things you can have before going into an exam hall. The reason being is that gives a short-term boost, the sugar, but you then actually suffer a crash. So yes, you get your short-term boost so that for a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, your brain's functioning, everything's firing. But then what happens is you actually crash after that. So if someone has an energy drink on the way into school, the good chance that it'll actually be in the exam hall when they hit the crash and have the worst experience. Their mind stops functioning, they struggle to remember, their concentration goes. Similar with things like vapes as well. Vapes are a chemical imbalance. It can actually change how people concentrate and focus. Right, so I've just walked us through there. So at 8:40 when the bell goes, what will happen is the students will come through to here. And this is our main hall. You recognise this. Many of you will have been in here. And they come into the main hall first. And you will see up on the walls there, we have letters for each row. And the reason we have that is every student has their own seat in the exam hall. And that's really important. It doesn't matter whether it's their child development exam, whether it's their English exam, whether it's their geography exam, they sit in the same seat every time. And the reason we do that is, again, to take that cognitive load off. We don't want them worrying about, where am I going to sit? I'm not sure about where I am in the hall. We don't need that worry. If they know they're always in the same seat every single time, that just makes it so much easier. So we bring them into the hall first, and they actually start by sitting in their correct row A, B, C, D, in their correct seat. And that seat correlates with the seat that they're in the exam hall. In here, what happens is myself or Mr Ferguson, one of the senior team, will just talk them, just remind them of the exam rules. No watches, no mobile phones, hand your notes in. Some people are still doing last minute revision even as they come in here, which is excellent to see. Just to make sure that they're compliant with all the rules, and then we'll walk them a row at a time into the exam hall, nice and calm, nice and measured. They'll also get some last minute subject messages in here. So you'll get, say the head of English will come in this morning, Mrs McGarry, and she'll just give literally just for the whole cohort those last 2 or 3 tips, because every little bit's important. Like those 1 mark, 2 marks that might make the difference. Actually it's just 1 mark if you think about it. That little bit, just having the right mindset as they walk in, being in the same seat, and that last second tip they get in this hall might be that 1 mark difference that turns a grade 1 into a grade 2. of a grade 3 into a grade 4, or a grade 8 into a grade 9, whatever level they're working at. It can just be one mark that makes a difference. So all of these tiny little things that we do add up to a really positive experience for the students as they come and do their mock exams. I'm heading back through the canteen now. There's a few of our other students in, so that's where a bit of a noise there. I'm sure they wouldn't want to be in the video there. Morning, sir. All right. I'm now heading through now, so they've come out the main hall after those last sort of 5 minutes of messages. There'll be staff along here, lined along these corridors, just giving them those last sort of like boosters and, you know, get in there, enjoy it, do your best. We don't say good luck. Students get what they deserve. The work they put in will come out in the grades they get. So it's not about luck, it's about hard work, it's about resilience. I'll say the staff will be reminded of that on the way down. They're a really positive experience. So they're all G'd up and ready as they head down into our sports hall. And they'll be in the sports hall for 9 o'clock for the exam start. Because once they're in the sports hall, we're not allowed to give any last messages, we're not allowed to give any notification or information. That literally as they're in, there's a recording at the start of every exam that just goes through the sort of exam protocols. And there are a series of invigilators. We actually pay for external invigilators to come in because that's what we have to do during the GCSE. So we do the same in the mocks, so the students are getting exactly the same experience as they will do when they do their final GCSEs and BTEC exams. So in the sports hall, good old-fashioned exam desks all over. There's Mr Whitmore just in the background there, just getting all of the papers out. I think this country's been doing exams for the same way since about 1600, it feels like. It's never really changed. But on each desk, you will see that every student, will get their exam paper. It's not on there yet, because obviously I can't show you the paper. But they get the pencil case, they've got all the equipment, there's a bottle of water, and they all have their student name and candidate number on there. So that when it comes to filling in the front of the paper, again, they don't have to think about that, they don't have to remember the numbers. They're in the same seat as they were in the hall, and they can just fill in the front of the exam paper and get on. Bottle of water just to keep them hydrated during the course of the exam, and then they're in here. So once they're in here, there's a large timer on the wall, so they're reminded of the time that they have for the exam, and that's up on the large screen at the back there. So that screen will actually have on what time the exam starts and finishes, and the students themselves will be able to just where they have to. We're not allowed to give them time checks. Some students have access to things like reading pens. Some students who are allowed access to Chromebooks. That can all happen in this exam hall. There are a few students who have extra venues, and you'll all know about that if that's your child. That's all being done through the JCQ rules. So this is where they end up, and this is where all of their hard work and diligence and resilience pays off. Because in here as well, they'll actually really be able to show off what they're doing, get the best possible grades they can. It is really important that they're doing the best they can during these mock exams. Yes, these are mocks, but they can become incredibly important for different reasons. We saw that during things like COVID, where we ended up having to do teacher-assessed grades, centre-assessed grades, and we had to base that on something, so we had to use things like mock results for that. It's really important if a student does have an issue during the GCSE week and for some reason isn't able to sit the paper, we can use this information to help support a grade if that happens. That's very rare, to be honest, and it's not often they allow us to do that, but if we can. But the other thing, the really, really, really important thing, is that they do incredibly well in these exams. They do the best they possibly can, because what this does, first, it's a good indicator of how they'll perform, and that'll help for things like their applications for colleges and sixth form. But secondly, it'll also give the teachers the information they need to be able to teach for these last sort of, what have we got left? About 50 days of teaching left, a bit less than 50 days after these exams. So to be able to see exactly what it is that the students need to work on and they need to focus on, the students themselves will get the papers back and be able to see, and that'll help inform their revision, because everything we're doing over these next couple of weeks is all about giving them the best possible experience to have when the GCSE comes, taking that bit of pressure off so that they know what to expect and they can do the best they possibly can. So there you are. You've had a little walk through of what the students are going to go through this morning, but at least you don't have to sit the exams. Okay, thanks. Bye now.